Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Good to have you here. We're back in the pub, gentlemen. We've got Laurence and Adam with us. Adam,
when do we leave the pub, eh?
We'll leave the pub when it closes. It's lovely to see Adam again on behalf of all the comments. No doubt they'll be pleased to see you. We're talking about the 5 things we learned from the weekend's action. First up, can Chelsea win the treble? It's on, gentlemen. It's on. The treble's on. They won the League Cup against Tottenham Hotspur on the weekend. Laurence, comment.
They ground out a victory.
Classic Mourinho.
Classic Mourinho, yeah. They lured them in the league and they went, go on, have it. Go on, allow Harry Kane all the space. And then in the League Cup final, they went, you're dead.
Yeah.
Done.
That is a very interesting way of putting it.
Adam,
No, it is. They were really bitey and horrible. I don't like Chelsea.
Perhaps a little bit more eloquence.
Chelsea deserve to win. I think, Spurs arguably the better team for the first half, but give away a silly free kick on the stroke of half time, punished by it, of all people, John Terry, and then it was pretty much dead after that. I think after the second goal, you could argue Chelsea were lucky again with a deflected goal, but they made 2 good chances and they took both of them, I'd say. So Spurs, we didn't really offer much. I mean, we hit the bar with Christian Eriksen early on in the game, but after that we didn't really give Petr Cech much to do, did we?
No.
So
Petr Cech.
Can't really argue with the result, to be honest.
They know how to kill a game, Chelsea.
They
And
certainly
Mourinho's
do.
done that. But you think Man City gave them ground in the league this weekend?
It's a good weekend for them. Very good weekend.
Yeah, great weekend for them. But they still have the challenge of the Champions League. I mean, it's not like that's...
Yeah.
They've still got some very good teams to face in the Champions
Well,
League.
they've still got to overcome PSG, Adam.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difficulty. I think, as you're saying, they won the League Cup now. Premier League, you probably say it's almost...
They're looking the best team in the league.
Yeah, they've got to play, I think they've got to play Arsenal away. They've got Man United and Liverpool at home. Those are probably the toughest fixtures they've got left in the league. In terms of Champions League, I think they'll get past PSG, but maybe in the latter stages...
Real Madrid, Bayern,
yeah, those sort of
Barcelona.
teams. I think Chelsea's first 11 is obviously very strong, but we've seen when they're missing, Fabregas or Matic or Costa, they sort of struggle a little bit. If they keep all those players fit and they're all playing, I think they could go very far. They could get to the final, but it's a
You
big
don't
if.
think the treble though?
I don't think they'll win the treble now.
Laurence,
They're
you're shaking
doubles,
your head.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they'll win the treble.
Double, not treble.
Yeah, double, not treble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pochettino said he was proud of his team's display. I mean, first half they were good and moved the ball quite nicely. Chelsea obviously very solid, putting 3 defenders really around Eriksen and Harry Kane, which was quite a shrewd move from Mourinho.
Yeah, I think we were out of ideas basically. I think maybe there's a little bit of tiredness from all the games we played. I think Spurs have played the most games out of any Premier League team this season.
Really?
But for me, I can't be too upset because I think it was an encouraging performance. We were beaten rather comfortably, but it was encouraging to see 4 academy players in the team get into the final in the first place. We did all right in the Europa League. We're still in the race for the top 4, so I can't be too upset. It's obviously disappointing to lose, but it's very encouraging for the future. Pochettino's there. Give him time for the next 2 or 3 seasons, and I think we'll see some real progress.
There is real progress there because that's also the first final they've reached since they won the Milky Way Cup, was it?
It was still the Carling Cup then, wasn't it?
Was it the Carling
I
Cup?
believe so, yeah.
2008.
I still think that it's good progress for Spurs in the sense that they're playing good football and it's not the brand of football that maybe we saw a few seasons ago from Spurs, which looked quite disparate at times, a little bit. Well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, this is now a system which they're putting their eggs in that basket.
The thing was when we had Harry Redknapp there, we were playing good football. I think we were playing good football, but there was
swashbuckling stuff.
Yeah, but there was no. There didn't seem to be much strategy for next season or the season after. It was all like, let's get Louis Saha in, let's get Ryan Nelson in. It wasn't very long-term thinking.
Let's get Tal Ben-Aim in.
Yeah, so I think now Pochettino he's found his feet now and he's planning for the future, which is what every Spurs fan wants to see, really.
Coutinho is a very valuable player to Liverpool Football Club, gentlemen. He scored a great goal against Southampton. He scored another great goal against Manchester City to complement Jordan Henderson's fabulous strike. And what a win for Liverpool it was, Adam.
Yeah, I think it was a very big win for them. I think are they 5th now? Yeah,
they are.
5th. So it's all very tight up there. I think looking at Coutinho there, he's obviously, as you say, the last 2 weeks scored 2 absolute worldies, becoming more and more influential for Liverpool. So I think you'd probably say under Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool, their transfer record has been questionable, but the 2 unarguable successes are Daniel Sturridge and Philippe Coutinho. Looking at him this season, you're looking at yesterday, very decisive in the game. He was the one who made the tackle on Company that led to the first goal. He obviously scored the second goal. So for Liverpool, he's becoming more influential. He's becoming more decisive in the games. What I'd say, though, is he needs to be more consistent in his performances. So he's got 4 goals and 4 assists this season. But you're looking at the likes of Christian Eriksen, Oscar, Santi Cazorla, David Silva. They've all got more goals than him.
They're all more expensive than him.
But I'm saying Christian Eriksen's younger than him. Christian Eriksen's younger than him. Similar price. So
Similar
Christian
price.
Eriksen scored 9 goals. He's created more chances than Coutinho. David Silva scored more goals. Cazorla scored more goals.
Sure.
All these players. So I'm just saying, for Coutinho to truly be,
Absolutely.
I think next season you'll see him step up in the absence of Gerrard, become even more influential.
Yeah.
But if he starts scoring more goals, being more decisive, like he was on Sunday, then I think you can have.
But if you look at when Liverpool signed Coutinho, he hadn't done very well at Inter.
No.
And it was a bit of a risk. Whereas David Silva was a brilliant player. Cazorla was a brilliant player. Eriksen was a huge hype around him.
Yeah,
so Rodgers has done a great job with Coutinho, getting him playing so well. And he's not just farmed him out on the wing like Inter did.
Yeah.
He's brought him inside as well as playing out wide. And he's as Adam says, he's quite influential these days.
Essentially, he's very good. He floats past players in a very elegant way. That's why they call him the magician, which is a lovely little thing. They call him the little man as well at Anfield.
It all works. It all works.
People at Anfield never refer to people by their name. They'll always go, "The little man's doing well today," and you're like, "Right, okay." So I mean, that's quite interesting. He started a lot of games. People were saying he was looking very fatigued for Liverpool for a little while. The criticism of him was that sometimes his shots would go very wildly away from goal, or sometimes he dragged them just wide, and it looks as if he's been working on that technique. The worry for Liverpool slightly is that they've scored quite a few goals from outside the box recently. And no, that's not a worry in the sense that that's great, they've gone in.
Sure.
But if you're scoring a lot of goals from outside the box, then maybe you need to question where the more incisive play is going. And against City, they had a number of chances. I think Adam Lallana got 2 offside balls in the net, if you want to call it that, which doesn't really.
I mean,
doesn't
Sturridge
really
had a
count.
chance. But,
I mean, it doesn't count in the sense that City played him offside, but at the same time, that shows the kind of runs that Liverpool are looking to make and the kind of incisions they're looking to make, and they created more chances. In the second half, it really felt as if Liverpool were the much better team, and the questions over them being able to beat bigger sides, despite the fact that they lost to Besiktas earlier in the week, is maybe one that Brendan Rodgers is trying to answer right now, and the side looks very driven for that.
Is all that going to be enough for a top 4 finish, though, Adam? They're currently 5th.
I think it looks like you could argue they're probably the best.
They're hitting form at the right time.
Yeah, they're the best team in the top 6 or 7 at the moment. They're playing better than arguably Chelsea, City, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs. All those teams haven't lost since, was it Man United in December 14th?
I think so, yeah.
A long time ago. So they're obviously in incredible form. If they keep their players fit, I think, they're going to finish in the top 4. I think their games are not... who have they got?
Well, they do still have Chelsea,
who they got to play,
United...
There's a few tricky ones in
It is
there,
a couple
but
of tricky
it's definitely doable.
1 at Anfield, 2 away. But again, they still play teams like Burnley as well. I know that is something where you look and you think, well, they've got the big games, but also,
Burnley's taken a point at Stamford Bridge and Etihad.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying is that if they just sit back and then Liverpool don't maybe have City attack Liverpool, that gives Liverpool the opportunity to go and counter attack against them. And I know their goals didn't come from that, but still. Liverpool's a confident side right now, but they still have to play teams who are going to sit back and say, right, the responsibility is yours. And at times, Liverpool has struggled to do that. Besiktas did that perfectly against Liverpool, and it came back to bite them. The last 20 minutes, they attacked against a tired Liverpool team because the squad still isn't as deep as it could be, and Liverpool were taken in that game by a team who arguably were not the favourites in that match.
The race for 3rd and 4th will be fascinating come the ensuing months. West Ham lost at home to Crystal Palace. The 2 teams have had very differing fortunes in the league of late, Adam.
10-10.
10-10.
It's that time again.
West Ham have won just 1 of their last 10 league games. This sort of team we were saying earlier, they could qualify for Europe.
No, we weren't.
No, we did. We definitely did.
Did we?
Yeah. Oh,
brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, they could. Yeah, definitely.
They could have.
They've had a good season, but dropped off a bit.
So Palace are now 9 points behind them. They've really zoomed up the league. Old Pardew working his magic there.
In 10 games.
In 10 games, in all competitions. So
6 wins, did you say? 3 draws?
Yeah. No, one draw.
1 draw and 3 losses.
3 losses in their last 10 games for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Is this the bounce that a new manager gives them, although they seem to be bouncing for a little bit longer? Is it because Pardew's a good motivator? Or is it because he's a decent tactician? A little bit of both, or has he just been quite lucky?
I wouldn't say lucky. I'd say obviously he had a similar squad to Warnock, and for whatever reason Warnock couldn't get the best out of those players. Maybe Warnock's more of a Championship manager than a Premier League manager. Sounds harsh, but perhaps true. I think Pardew, he's a decent tactician. I think if you talk to any Newcastle fan, they'd probably say he's not the most tactically astute manager.
I would say Pardew is tactically a little bit more
inept. Oh, right.
No. Than Sherwood, I would say Pardew's got a little bit more about him tactically. I mean, I don't think Pardew's a bad manager.
They go on runs, don't they? They kind of, and Palace and Pardew go on runs. And I think, therefore, that's a good thing for Palace. That'll keep them up this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll stay up.
But the long-term questionability of Pardew and possibly the depth of the squad there will be the telling factor.
Werder Bremen lost 5-3 at home to Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg scoring a lot of goals recently. They've scored 53 in the Bundesliga. Only Bayern have scored more. I think Bayern have scored 10 more. But bearing in mind, Bayern have scored 20 goals in their last 3 league games. So a very impressive stat from Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
Yeah.
It's all in German.
Yeah.
Very
breakfast all in German.
Yeah.
Fluent,
well, one word was in German. But one of the men behind those goals for Wolfsburg has been Bas Dost, the Dutchman.
Scheisse.
There's no need for that.
Oh, okay.
It's been Bas Dost, the Dutchman. He's 25. He's not really played much for the national team.
Yeah.
But he's surely got to be knocking on the door because he scored 14 goals in his last 9 games.
It's quite something, isn't it? He's scored, with his last 10 shots on target, he scored 9 of them. I'm trying to step in for Dave.
That's
here with
great.
Stats. It's just surprising seeing this player go from such a zero to hero. Like you say, he's 25. He joined Wolfsburg.
Was he such a zero? I think he was just...
Well, he joined in
He was at
2012.
Heerenveen before that.
I mean, he scored a few goals in the Dutch league, but I think...
But that was in 2011-12, that season. That's a long time ago. So since then, he's obviously been hit by injury at Wolfsburg, but he hasn't really
It's going
set the league
from
alight.
what could have been a stuttering career to
suddenly go poof.
to score. But I mean, I was discussing this today. Do you remember Kristen, the lovely guy? He was on
I
Champions
love
League
that guy.
previews.
Love
him,
that
right?
guy.
And we were talking about the difference between a striker in a purple patch and a striker with prolonged quality. And he did show a lot of qualities before that. But I mean, it's difficult. There are strikers like that. There are strikers every season that everyone goes, are they that? Berahino, Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
Look at the record. He's not been incredibly prolific at every club, but this is a really great purple patch that he's going through.
Adam's
what do you want me to say?
I was saying he went from 0 to hero. I'm not saying like in his whole career. Obviously, he was the top scorer in the Eredivisie before he came to Wolfsburg. But since then, he had obviously the injuries. He hasn't had his chance in the team. Now
he went from borer to scorer. Maybe.
There you go. It's only him and Bentner are the only strikers up front, so he's got his chance now because you're probably not going to choose Bentner over him. But yeah, everything's clicking for him and also the team. Like you say, De Bruyne was involved in almost every goal against Werder Bremen on the weekend. He's absolutely on fire. So I think he is in a purple patch, and it's the same with Harry Kane in terms of can he, maintain this form over a period of seasons.
We certainly hope so.
It's difficult for Wolfsburg, though, isn't it? You remember Diego was there. They keep climbing the league and they keep getting these very prolific players, and then people come along and either they get old or they go, oh, we'll have that.
Well, I think now they've got Schürrle, De Bruyne, Bas Dost. So I think if now they're going to qualify for the Champions League, you say it's almost certain now. It's looking very good. They've got a good chance of keeping hold of these players and building for the next season. So I think it looks very good.
Looking good for Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
Video technology has come up in the press again. The Goalline Technology is in full flow. And people saying, should we have a little bit more technology, Adam? Should we? You're saying yes?
Yeah.
I'm saying yes.
Well, offsides?
Yeah, I think most people who argue against video technology say we'd have nothing to talk about on Monday down the pub.
Yeah.
Right? I'd say that's not true. These sort of decisions, Wes Brown, the wrong man sent off. You're looking at Matic's red card the other week. You're looking at
what would have happened with Matic's red card? Well, Matic still would have got sent off for being
Ashley
an
Barnes would
asshole.
have got sent off as well, then, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Matic still would have been sent off.
Yeah, but you'd say the injustice is Barnes wasn't punished for his challenge. Matic was punished, rightly, for acting with aggression, but Barnes wasn't punished. So if there was the replay, the referee would have sent him off straight away.
Fair enough.
The decision's been pretty poor this season. I think if technology came in, it wouldn't diminish the conversation we're all having on Monday mornings. I think it would just get rid of these sort of annoying, ridiculous decisions that just seem obvious when you see one replay.
One of the arguments, though, that people say against technology is, now I agree with you. I mean, we don't just sit in the pub or wherever people socialise talking about bad decisions. We talk about Mourinho's tactics or Harry Kane's goals, for example.
Of course.
But beautiful.
Absolutely. But if you were to bring in technology, how many times have we seen people say, well, that was a penalty, and people say that wasn't a penalty?
And this is the tricky problem with those decisions.
But the problem is that people, they misappropriate the argument, and then they go, well, technology will not completely get rid of mistakes in the game. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to reduce the number of mistakes in the game. The problem may be that that's then only at the very top of the game, and that's where I find the problem, would be that if you're creating another tier where the technology is so much more superior, then you're almost creating another kind of football, or you're creating a kind of football which relies on a different kind of margin. And so when we go into things like the FA Cup, it changes the product. And so the product of the Premier League would change because of the amount of technology.
But also, other countries may not be able to afford that kind of technology.
Exactly.
So when they get to the World Cup, as you say, that it's playing a slightly different kind of football in a way. But do you think technology, like they've got with Goalline Technology, should be brought in for specific parts of the game that you can prove outright, so offside, for example, but maybe not penalty decisions?
Exactly. There are subtle changes that technology brings, which maybe we don't anticipate. And it's not until you start to implement those things and experiment within football that you'll find those.
So, okay, Adam, so say we take the offside one, for example, that we've sort of focused on here. Goalline technology is rarely used. The ball hardly ever bounces off the bar and, oh, did it go and did it not? Offside decisions are given all the time. Would it get to a point where the linesman's flagging and people think, well, we don't trust him, and managers are saying, I want that looked at, I want that looked at?
But that's just not how you implement it.
It depends on how is it going to be this, the Hawkeye system like in tennis where you get the free challenges? Is it going to be that sort of thing, or is it going to be every single offside? I think that's why you need to bring in the trials and test it out. Like they're talking about testing it in the Dutch league. I think in 20 years...
Test it in a league which doesn't matter.
No, the Dutch league, they're the ones who have been... They want to implement it. So they're the ones who want to, get it going in like cup competitions. They want to test it out at that level. I think, in 15 years, we're going to look back and go, how did we ever do it without video technology?
Really?
Yeah,
I think we'll just say we're better off for technology. I think that's the point, is people put so much emphasis on it and it changes the conversation because they want to be able to say something about it, that we end up looking at completely the wrong thing.
Well, that's what we learned from the weekend's action. Do comment below and let us know what you learned from the weekend's action, everybody. Thanks very much to Adam.
Thanks.
And Laurence.
Thanks.
It's been a ruddy pleasure, as I'm sure everyone will agree and reflect that in their comments in the section below. We'll be back on Thursday for a Q&A, so we'll see you then.